Yes, Sue, I'm so glad you're joining me here on Imagen News. You know, I have to tell you all, I'm probably the luckiest person in the world because I have a job that I enjoy doing very much, and I get to talk every day to very interesting people. And the following guest, boy, he's killing me. You know why? Because I get to talk not only to an author of a book, which, as you know, I enjoy very much throughout the years, interviewing authors of different books, but also it's a book about food, which is my second most fun thing to do on this show is to talk about food. And he published this, I would say, extraordinary book, and I highly recommend it. Try to get a copy of it. It's in English. It's called Good Food in Mexico City, A Guide to Food Stalls, Fondas, and Fine Dining. Nicolas Gilman, welcome to the show. Congratulations on your book. I loved it.
Well, thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me.
Well, you give excellent recommendations about, you give recommendations about places to eat where probably many of our listeners wouldn't even fathom going, which includes street food and market stalls. I mean, I have to tell you, even I'm afraid sometimes on eating food in some of the market stalls because of hygiene and, you don't know where they wash their hands. But your book does an excellent job in suggesting places where you can basically pick and order some of what appears to be, very, very important Mexican food. Tacos al pastor, birria, carnitas, mixiotes. I mean, it's you did an extraordinary job. I hate you. What a great job.
Well,
Write a book and eating all these places.
Nice work if you can get it. I did eat in and try every single place that is in the book, but there are supposedly 36,000 eating establishments registered in the city of Mexico, and I did not try every single one of them because that's impossible.
Right.
But I do believe that some of the best Mexican food is found in street stalls and markets and fondas. Mm-hmm. And that's where I look for it, and I really think some of the wonderful Mexican food can be found. I do recommend eating in these places. If you don't know what you're doing, stick to my book, because those are the tried and true places. I think one of the good results of the influenza crisis we went through last year is that people have really improved hygiene. You can even find that the gel
right.
at street stalls now, and people are wearing gloves and they're not touching money, and they're really much more conscious of having good hygiene.
What is your most absolutely favorite Mexican food?
Well, if I have to pick one dish, one simple ordinary dish, I think it might be flautas. Mm-hmm. There's something about the crunchiness and the meat inside and the green salsa and the crema and everything that goes together and makes a kind of a divine food. Some of it, and when they're freshly fried, and I mean, it's not on anybody's diet list, let's face it, but...
Well, I guess there's a lot of Mexican food that is not on, it's hard to put them on your diet list. And you know what I see in here? You're such a brave man. You ate fish, you're suggesting fish and seafood from markets and stalls, which is, I've eaten in some of these places, and you still can run a risk of getting really sick if they don't do a good job in selecting the seafood.
Probably can, but life is full of risks. The places I recommend are really well known. The tostada stand in the Coyoacán market, for example.
Right.
Everybody knows that, and it just has such a high turnover of food. But there's one outside called El Caguamo, which is in the centro. Mm-hmm. That also, the fish is over ice. It's behind glass, and there's also a high turnover because there are always people there. Mm-hmm. Been there for years. So I trust that one. Obviously, yes, I advise people to be careful and not to eat fish where they don't know what's going on, not to eat ceviche. tacos al pastor that you don't know how long they've been there. But that's why I wrote the book. I did research for years. 20 years of research went into this book.
20 years?
Well, it was a book I wanted, and it didn't exist, and I decided to do it. Nobody's done it for
you also have a section on international cuisine.
Well,
and
we live in an international city, and there are some amazing restaurants here.
You mentioned what is my most favorite restaurant here in Colonia Cuauhtemoc, which is the Bistro. You have a number of bistros here, but it's the Bistro Arlequin, which is this kind of French restaurant run by a Frenchman.
I would say that's probably the best French restaurant in the city.
I would agree, and it's what I love about your book is that you're suggesting places to eat which are very reasonable, which is also a wonderful thing about your book.
I have a few expensive ones, too, but most of them are in the middle or lower category. And in the international section, for example, I have a Chinese restaurant that is run by Chinese. It's the only one I could find where Chinese people actually go. It's a little out of the way, but for those, and I think a lot of, especially Americans who are used to having good Chinese food, who come from big cities, will